How are we doing, everybody? It is Ross, and welcome to episode 53 of the 1% Daily podcast. I can't believe I've done 53. And I also feel like a bit of a rapper because I'm stood here holding my phone with my content on it. You know, like doing all the Jay-Z things. I'm going to ask somebody to bring down the mic and bring up the instrumental in the background as well. Probably not. Okay, so it's been a while, and I apologize. Just been busy. But if you're new to the show, 1% Daily is all about finding 1% of your day, which is 14 minutes and 24 seconds, and dedicating it to yourself or improving something about you, which will in turn make you of better service and a better value to those people around you. So initially it can come out as a bit of a selfish ploy to find 14 minutes and 24 seconds for yourself, but actually it's not. It's a bit of an investment into you, and it makes you, like I say, of greater value to the people around you. So don't feel bad about finding 1% of your day. The show today is 14 minutes and 24 seconds. That's it. When we get to that time, I will cut it off. Today, like I said, I'm continuing on with my Norway theme. For those of you who are just listening to the show for the first time, I went to Norway for 2 weeks at the beginning of the year. I was away with the Royal Marines, and it was a winter warfare package, and I brought home with me, I reckon, about 10 podcasts worth of content. So today is all about, there was a ski race on the, I think it was the final Friday of the 2 weeks. And the race was really, really interesting because, and I'll try and bring this back into what I'm talking about with the 1% Daily. It was a cross-country ski race, and that means that you can essentially ski uphill because you can have wax on the base of your skis. Now, what actually happened was this race was set up on the Friday. We'd spent a week in the field that week. That was our survival week. So we'd done the icebreaker drills. We'd done the survival shelter, the -23 night out. We'd done the Quincy, which is building a snow hole and sleeping in it. Pretty much been ragged around all week. And then at the end of the week, we had this race. So there was this fun thing right at the end of the race. Now, the race itself was really interesting because it was on a full-bodied cross-country skiing track, which meant there was already allocated sort of lines in the snow for us to put our skis in, which meant you could follow the track. But if you didn't follow the track, there was a good chance you might fall off. Now, this, again, ties in nicely to everything I talk about 1%. And we rock up to the race on the Friday, and the great thing about it is everyone who's been involved in the course, so the training staff, the DL, the sort of behind the scenes training staff, the cooks, the chefs, everybody who'd been involved rocked up to this event because it was a nice way to sort of round off the week. And I'm pretty sure there were some guys there who just rocked up for that ski race at the end of it. But the race was ridiculous because you start on the flat, and the first thing you see is this big hill. And in your mind, you're going, right, hold up, how am I supposed to get up this hill because I'm on skis? And this then comes back into the preparation for the race. And there was rumours flying around about what wax to use. You could use blue or red wax, and red wax was used in a certain temperature, blue wax in a different temperature. And if you used the wrong one, it would be too slippy or not sticky enough, or too sticky. So it was all about finding out what worked for you best. So I kind of took the approach, and this I think ties in nicely to work and life. I took the approach of working out what worked well for me, but also taking some advice from the experts and the pros. So there was a guy, Colours, I'll just leave him as Colours, and he's been going to Norway for about 20 years. So if anybody there has got the most experience, it was going to be him. So I found him the night before. I was like, Chris, what's the what wax are we wearing tomorrow? And he's like, oh, we're wearing green wax. And I was like, I've not got green wax. I've only got the blue or the red. And he was like, gave me the combination of wax to use. And I was like, have you got any advice for this track? And he's like, yeah, I've been on this track before. So he started then to map out for me in my brain how this track and this course was going to go. And he was like, go out strong and hard on the first hill because there's a long drag on the way round after that you can recover on. And the race itself was ridiculous, like I said, because it was up and down. And to call it undulating would be a massive understatement, because I reckon I spent as much time going up 45 degree, 30 degree hills on skis as I did then coming down short and sharp tracks on the slope. Sorry, I completely lost track there. And it was really interesting because the way the race played out, kind of, in my opinion, and from my experiences, is how life plays out. So imagine life is one big ski race, and all you do is you get given certain bit of equipment. You get given loads of different advice from loads of different people, but ultimately you're the only person that's going to be out on that racetrack. And it really was an interesting play, because as much as you were going up, you were coming down. And I think that ties massively into what we get out of life, because you will spend a lot of time working as hard as you can to go after the stuff you really want, try and experience the stuff you want to have with your family, with your husband or your wife, or your work, or your career, or whatever it might be. But you have those really, really, really shitty days, those really, really low days. But then they are instantly complemented by the highs, the peaks, okay? Now, this is exactly how this race was. This race was up and down, and you were blowing out your backside for the majority of the time, and then you get some respite. Then you get some really cool downhill fluid run, or you'd see somebody you could catch up with, and you overtake them, and your confidence would go back up through the roof. And then you'd have the hard slog of hitting a hill again, and you'd be absolutely hanging out. You'd be trying to throw your arms and your legs up as hard as you can on a cross-country ski track, which is insane, by the way. If you've ever seen the Olympic cross-country skiers, those guys, probably some of the fittest blokes in the world. Now, I'm definitely not putting myself in that category, because I made cross-country skiing look slow. These guys, when they do it well, make it look amazing. But they still struggle the same way that I struggled, okay? It's just all relative to them and how they struggle. And that's how it is in our lives, okay? You will see people on social media, out in society, that appear to be being really, really successful, or to be finding things easy, or to be the overnight success. But actually, they probably put in just as much hard work as anybody else who's been successful. You only get to see the fruits of their labor, not all the labor they put in. And this is what I love about the ski race. This is what I love about life. There's going to be highs. There's going to be massive highs. There's going to be those moments where you are just living your best life. You're firing on all cylinders. And then you're going to have those really, really bad, poor days. Now, the thing behind the bad and the poor days is that's just the way life is. So imagine if you were on a single plane the whole time. So you just had it a certain way the whole time. That would just be your normal. Okay, and all of a sudden you have a really, really good day, and you go, right, I want this really, really good day all the time. So that really, really good day becomes your new level of normal, okay? That new best version, okay? Now that then will start to become a bit samey, a bit kind of like normal for you, and all of a sudden your levels and expectations have changed. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should remove your expectations. If anything, you should constantly be looking to evolve and increase your level of expectations of yourself and those around you. By doing that, you raise then your standards of normal. That's fine. But to appreciate your good days, you've got to have your really, really bad low days, okay? You don't want to have as many of them, but it allows you then to really enjoy the good times, really, really enjoy the magic moments. And this race for us out in Norway was kind of the culmination of the week, and it was a really, really great opportunity to celebrate. And this is something I don't think we do enough in society of, is celebrating our small victories, celebrating our small wins. And this can go for anything. This might be celebrating some time with your kids, celebrating an exercise goal that you hit yourself, or celebrating a career goal, or a milestone in your relationship with your husband or your wife. We don't celebrate them enough because, especially in the UK, it's kind of seen as showing off and being a bit boastful and being a bit of a dick if you show off too much with regards to celebrating. But actually, I think we should try and celebrate more, because what it does, it solidifies your intention. It solidifies that you are able to be successful. And if you ever have those low, crappy moments, you've got something to work towards. So you've set yourself some goals, you've set yourself some challenges, and then once you achieve them, you then should celebrate that. So you understand the good, positive association with working hard and then getting something that you go after. This then sets up a positive anchor in your brain attached to working hard and achieving something, which then sets you off on it again. It makes you chase it again. It makes you go after it again. And this was exactly what it was like in the ski race. And that whole 2 weeks away in Norway we'd have really, really crap days, really, really good days, really, really crap days, really, really good days. Got to the race, and you'd have really, really fast downhills, loving it, loving the hills. Then you'd have really, really shit hills in your face, blowing at your backside, and people overtaking you and you falling over because you think you're coasting, you've got it going on. And that is just how life is. Life throws that stuff at you amazingly, and it catches you on the blind side, and before you know it, you are off the side of the ski slope and you are in the deep snow, long grass area, and you're struggling to get back onto the track. That is how life is. And for my race, so I consider myself to be pretty fit, and I use that term very, very loosely, but to have a good set of lungs on myself. I cannot ski a lick, okay? Now, in my mind, the cross-country skiing was all about lungs and not technique, in my mind. I was massively proven wrong when I jumped on the track and I was being overtaken by people who were a good 10, 15 years older than me, but they had the technique down to an absolute T. Okay, they were smooth in everything that they were doing. They were efficient on all their turns. They were confident in their ability to ski. I stacked it. I thought I was doing really well, and I probably had completed about 85% of the course. And there was a big, long, sweeping corner, came down, and I was like, no worries, I've got this. I'm in a good place. And what I was starting to do was I was already starting to think of the finish line. And of course, what happened? Of course, you know what happened. I stacked it, okay? And I was worrying about a guy chasing me behind me, so I'm looking behind me. I'm thinking the finish line. I'm not concentrating on where my skis are. Bearing in mind, you're on like 1.5 inch thick skis, as in wide, and you're in track. So if you're not concentrating, you fall over pretty quick. I went down like an absolute sack of shit. Spun out on this corner, and then the guy who was chasing me, he's like stumbling around because he thinks he's going to fall over me. I'm then quickly back up on my feet and back onto my skis, and I'm going back after it. And again, this is what happens in life. We are too worried about what everyone else is doing. We are too worried about everyone else's actions, what they might think of you. And what that does is it takes us off our A game. It takes us off our focus. And sometimes, again, like I did in my race, I was too busy focusing on the finish line. I wasn't looking at what was going right in front of me. Now, it's okay to have your goals and your targets in front of you, give you something to aim for. But if you focus on them too much, you then lose sight of where you are right now, okay? And it's really, really important that you remember where you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, okay? And be mindful of those around you who are going to have a positive or a negative impact. So my positive impacts for that race were getting the advice from the colours, the colour sergeant, Chris, finding out what equipment I should use, what wax I should use, what clothes I should wear, all this good stuff, okay? So basically, in your life, guys, find the mentors, okay? Find the people that are going to help you be better at what you want to do in life. This is exactly what I did in the race. I found the guys who were going to help me out. And by the way, when I said I got overtaken by a load of people, I think I came like 5th or 6th out of about 60 people, all right? So I'm not too... In fact, no, I didn't. I came 11th, top, because I didn't quite make the top 10. I came 11th. Bear in mind, I never skied up until this trip away. But yeah, I came 11th out of, like I say, 60 or 70 people. So I did okay, but that's because I sought good advice from good people, okay? My downfall was I then became worried about other people who had no impact on my race at all. So I was worried about people who were chasing me, who'd been set off in different times. I'd overtaken people, so I couldn't even tell you who the guy was behind me that I was worried about, okay? But all I know is that he caused me to fall off my skis because I was too busy concentrating on him and not concentrating on myself. This is what happens in life. We get distracted. So the takeaway from this 1% daily podcast, guys, life is going to be like the ski race. It's going to be up and down. You're going to need those ups and downs, though. You're going to need the lows to appreciate the highs, okay? You're going to need to find mentors. Use the right equipment. Plan out what you want to achieve. Have your goals in sight. But don't get sucked into your goal too much that you lose sight of where you are right now. Don't worry about what's going on in society. Don't worry about people who disagree with what you're saying or what you're talking about. That's not their problem. That's not their bag to worry about. This is all about you and what you can do. Guys, this is my time, 14 minutes and 24 seconds. This has been the 1% Daily Show. I hope you've enjoyed this. Guys, remember, life is one big game. Make sure you play it your way and maximize your potential. Have a great day. Bye-bye.